So we are here today, and Michael is going to share his testimony of how he came to know Jesus and share a little bit about his life. And his story is incredible. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear it.
Yes.
So, Michael, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Michael Baryo, and I'm a God-fearing person, and hopefully, what I share impacts, encourages, and helps somebody. That's all that I'm here for. I'm very nervous. Oh, okay. I think that should be normal.
I also think that's a good thing because I think if you show up and you're, especially when we're talking about our journeys with Christ, like it's such a delicate story to tell that's like you want to do it justice and you want to make sure that you glorify God. And I noticed that when I filmed my own was like, keep on focus, like keep on focus. Don't go too far into myself. Like, and that's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. So, tell us a little bit about like growing up. I know we already talked about that, but like, what was your relationship with God, growing up?
Yeah, growing up, um, it started out first time I got baptized at probably, 12 years old, maybe 11. I think I was more fear-driven. Like, I don't wanna go to hell. And jealousy, like, my friends were doing it, so, like but I was raised in the church, so, you know, it is very fascinating because Ava just recently says she wants to get baptized, and I asked her why. She didn't have an understanding anything, and I let her down. I told her we were gonna talk about when we got home, and we didn't, so I still probably need to do that with her.
Oh yeah.
Make sure she knows why she's gonna get baptized. Um, so, um, very young, was raised in the church. Um As soon as I got baptized the first time, I started experimenting with drugs, um, went down a path,
Mm,
but I had rules,
yeah.
you know.
You had your own rules?
Yeah, but my rules were you don't do it during the school year.
Oh, yeah.
But then that changed to okay, we're only on weekend, but not during the school week.
Yeah.
And eventually that morphed in my senior year where I did it during soccer practice and then it became an everyday thing.
Yeah.
And thankfully I had some teachers intervene one day when I showed up to class and took me to the principal. And the principal intervened and said, "Hey, listen, you are going to have to go to rehab or else you don't get to graduate high school."
Because you were a smart kid, right? Like, you were on top of it until this happened.
Yeah, well, my first year, so yeah, I've always got good grades. I had ADHD, so I got in trouble a lot in elementary. I cleaned it up some during middle school, but I really cleaned it up during high school. Uh, My first year of high school, though, I skipped a little bit because I was hanging out with my cousins, uh, and so he enjoyed skipping school, so I did as well. But after that, my sophomore and junior year, I had 3.8 to 4.0 during those 2 years.
Yeah.
But then my senior year, I fell back.
So when you went downhill, they noticed. They gave notice of it, especially because you or do you mind us sharing where you came from?
No, no, I was go ahead.
Yeah, so Michael was raised in Flint, Michigan, and so I'm from what we've talked about, that's not like somebody who is a good student would definitely stand out in that environment,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah. I was a good student. I always had good grades, smart, just bad decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So what do you think triggered do you think it was when you got baptized, did you think something fresh was going to happen and maybe it didn't, and so it triggered, or what was the
well, at that point in time also, I had an uncle pass away. It was my first experience with death. My grandma had passed away when I was 6 on my dad's side, but, like, I didn't know what was going on. I just remember seeing my dad crying, and I couldn't hang out with him. I was mad that I couldn't hang out with him. But this time, my uncle passed away, and my first real experience with death. Um, and I remember thinking, "Okay, I can't cry," but then I cried, and I felt all kinds of weird about the whole situation, and I just feel like I'm uh, I personally feel that as soon as you get baptized, I believe that the devil attacks us because we are precious and he knows how important we are. And so when he sees that God is gaining favor, he's going to attack.
Yeah, that is the truth. And I think that's even like when you step out in any kind of act of public faith. Like, for example, yesterday, posted the first episode of the podcast. And shortly after that, I get this weird call of somebody just breathing. It's an unknown call and they're just breathing. And I'm like, okay, we both have kind of me and Tana have come to the conclusion it wasn't really anything. So we're like, okay, we're good. But like that is just weird ways the enemy will make you feel uncomfortable.
Right. Put
And
your mind.
yeah, and then I feel like yesterday I just blew it. Like we went to the cigar lounge, I smoked a cigar, had a drink of alcohol. Not that that's like a huge deal, but it's out of character for me. And I'm like, I knew I had this podcast this morning, woke up with a sore throat, and I'm like, why did I do that? So I kind of resonate with when you take these acts of public faith, the enemy's gonna do what he can to try to get you to lose focus on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even in small ways, So it's like, so dang, so you fell off. Probably was it like immediately after, or was it like months?
Like I said, it's kind of like a progression.
And it just was
It
slow.
was just slowly but surely. It's somewhere along the way, I think I started drinking too. Um, for some reason, we were able to buy alcohol at like 14 years old. I don't think that's normal anywhere in the country.
No. How did you do that?
There was this corner store by my friend Brandon's house, and we just walk up there and buy it. Then, like on New Year's Eve, when I think I was 16, all of a sudden he's like, "No." I'm like, "What? You've been selling to me for 2 years, bro. What are you talking about?" No.
Cut you off.
So then we just found another place.
Dang, that's wild. I mean, I know that in this area too, but it's definitely not good or normal. Yeah, if that happens. So you did end up graduating though, right?
So yeah, I went to rehab, just like I was told to, and I got reconnected with higher power because they required us to go to AA or NA. I can't remember which one it was, but I got reconnected. I'm like, well, I know who my higher power is. He has a name. It's God.
Yeah.
And so just going through the steps of reconciliation and all the steps. I don't think I did all the 12 stuff, but I got pretty far. I went through the forgiveness stage. And so, um, and that forgiveness, asking forgiveness and giving forgiveness, I think is hugely important in our walk with Christ and in our spiritual journey.
Yes.
But, so I did that, graduated, um, I originally wanted to be a financial advisor when I was in high school, but as I said, when I was 16, as a junior, we had a lady come here on career day and say, being a financial advisor is stressful and it causes ulcers. I don't know if you knew what an ulcer was when you were 16, but I sure didn't. And I just thought that it meant imminent death. Like very quickly, you got 3 months to live, you got an ulcer, you're dead.
Right. It's a hole in your stomach. So as a kid, you're like, that is not what I want.
Didn't even know it was a homeless.
Yeah. So which route did you go down instead of the
So I decided to become an accountant because I like numbers. That's why I was doing the financial advising because my counselor knew I like numbers and people.
Yeah.
But now I'm just doing numbers. Then I found out I didn't like that because I like people too.
Yeah.
So
You don't want to be behind a computer just staring at a screen.
yeah. Then I was like, okay, well I like people, so let's just go to the other side of the spectrum with the pendulum and do marketing. But then I was like, marketing, I don't know if I can do that because they may have me sell something I don't necessarily agree with. And during that time, it was about 2001, 2002. It was very heavy sex sells tab.
It was a toxic time in the world, like the Britney Spears, the Christina era. These young women just like, oh, Jerry's on that thing. And we're kind of examples of that too. Like, I don't know if you knew that, but like, there's this Beta Carpenters of the world that, and her songs, it's really weird. Jojo Siwa, do you know who that is?
I've heard of the name.
Do not let your daughter go anywhere near that girl.
I heard her name, say the name. I think we shut that down.
Oh, you got you. It's getting worse. The problem is they're marketing like their music. It sounds like sing-song little kid music, but it's the most foul
Really?
topic.
So who's this Mariah girl?
Mariah. I don't know. It's probably like a TikToker or something. I'm not that young.
My kids like something Mariah. My wife got
Not Mariah Carey?
no, no, but she does pop up every year around Christmas.
So did you see that video of her with the inside? Sounded like a mouse. Like,
So, uh,
Oh, where were we? I'm so sorry.
well,
Anyways, you were talking about going into marketing.
yeah, so I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, let's go back to math and maybe some people by doing electronic engineering, and everything was going great.
Yeah.
I finished my first year of school. I was still partying though. So even though I quit after high school, experimenting with drugs, then I was still drinking. Um, so um, I ended up getting in a fatal car accident. I want to say it's September 25th, 2004.
Hey.
Oh, it's a
So
legal car accident. Yeah. So that ruined me, wrecked me. I At the time I didn't think it had an impact on me, but I still can remember to this day very vividly
yeah.
being in the hospital, me standing here, the other family standing over there, and just the look of disappointment that they had towards me
Mm,
and not knowing how to react or do anything because I was all by myself.
yeah. So let's go a little deeper into because I know when we had first talked, you explained to me like kind of gave me a mental image of how this happened, how the accident happened.
Yeah.
So run me down with that again. What was the
So it was in Michigan, we have these things called blinking green left-hand turn signals where you can turn left as long as you don't see cars coming.
right? We have that here sometimes. I've seen it.
The blinking ones?
Yep, where it blinks.
Was
It's
the
going like, okay, you have to yield,
Yeah.
but
It was a narrow corridor road, so this
mhm,
intersection is known for car accidents.
yeah,
And then I was in the blind spot and they didn't see me, they turned in front of me. I've always maybe I lied to myself. I always thought I was only going about 10 miles an hour. I recently found out that I was probably going closer to 20 miles an hour. So I recently, since we talked, I reached out to the owner of the pizza place.
yeah.
I just asked her for forgiveness because I felt like I totally ruined her life and her business. But
And
definitely,
how did you feel that? Why did you feel that?
I just felt like it was important.
Did it impact them, or it was just traumatic? Like,
She sold her business, got out of it because she didn't want to have to
um,
be on the road. And it turns out that God had a plan all along for her too, because she was protected from that.
yeah.
So
So now the family was turning left. Turning left. You were going straight,
I was going straight.
but you were going a little faster than you should have,
Correct.
which is what caused the T-bone, I guess, right?
Correct. Nobody got a ticket.
Yeah.
I didn't get a ticket. She didn't get a ticket.
It sounds like it wasn't really a real at fault situation, but unfortunately there was a fatality
Right.
of a young child, right?
Yeah.
And a 2-year-old. And so I can imagine no matter what, the real, you know, consensus of it is that's horrifying.
Yeah.
That's those things where you look to God and you're like, why did this?
Why I did not look to God. I probably should have.
Yeah.
I remember my uncle saying, "Hey, you probably should get counseling." And I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm good."
Oh, so you
So
don't like that. I'm fine.
yeah, I self-medicated myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then because school was supposed to start the very next day, my second year of electronic engineering, all my books were in the car. They had to do an investigation on the car. So I went to the dean of electronic engineering school and asked if I could get books. He was able to give me my physics book, none of the other ones. And so I was able to do great physics. I passed physics with an A plus.
Yeah.
And all the other ones I couldn't because they didn't have a book. And back then Google was the Google we had today. You had to use like plus, ors, ands, nots, parentheses in the right spot to find whatever you're looking for. I wasn't able to properly learn what I needed to learn. So I've had my teacher has sympathy for me. He passed me with D's, but it's all comprehensive, so he had to do good. But during that class, I learned exactly how they were able to determine exactly how fast I was going within a margin of error about 3 miles per hour
Wow.
because of the weight of the car, the measurements of the dents, the lengths of the skid marks. So they're able to,
What year was this again?
2004.
So another thought that runs through my mind, just in my rational mind, is like nowadays you would think, and I would pray that they've come so far in technology that the cars are safer, that these car seats are safer. Like I know they nowadays like the child is supposed to face rear
Yes.
until like they're 3
Yes.
because that's so much safer.
And I don't know if this is a standard, but if you have one child, I think they need to be in the middle. They're protected.
Oh,
This child was not in the middle.
yeah, that's another, and we're not required anymore or still, but it's very encouraged.
Yeah. Okay, that's
So,
what I thought.
yeah.
So, and I don't think anybody.
Oh, it's no,
It's just
no.
really bad.
It's a horrible situation that just happens, and it is one of those things. So, okay, so you definitely weren't looking towards God in this time,
No,
sadly.
it wasn't. But I think my faith in God, my belief in God, He was always there. I think He
He was
just was one of
perceptive.
those situations where He needed to give me an intervention, and we have things that happen in our lives where at some point I was gonna be pointing back to Him, and so
Yeah,
through this bad situation, I didn't want to deliver pizzas anymore.
yeah.
So I said no, I won't deliver. I was too scared. I don't only want to work.
Is it a pizza place?
Yeah, I was delivering pizzas.
I think it's starting into the pizza place.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
They were just driving. I got
so that's why it affected the lady.
well, I found out even
Ours. I'm sorry, I forgot that detail.
so apparently, the kitchen manager sent everybody home, and then we got slammed with a bunch of orders. Because I know I had like 5 orders in my car. We were specifically never supposed to take more than 3.
Oh, so
I had to 5.
yeah,
I was in a hurry.
yeah. Well, as they make you like that was back in the days when they're like delivered in 5 minutes. So you get
So you'll be we didn't have that, but still,
yeah,
the faster you get there, the bigger tip you get.
yeah,
So, uh, so yeah, so I spiraled. I went into doing a bunch of stuff that I probably shouldn't have been doing.
yeah.
I tried to, uh, I passed the classes, but I didn't do good the next semester. So then I was like, okay, what am I going to do with my life? So then at that point in time, I was thinking I'd become
Was that when you were in the marketing?
engineering.
Oh, was it engineer?
So
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'll get my 4-year degree, but I can go ahead and get in the Marines and go ahead and have, some kind of status because I already had so much college education. They told me I couldn't hear good enough. I said, what? So that didn't work out. Um, I realized that land was going downhill because in the accounting program, I learned that we had a, you know, imminent threat of going bankrupt, and we had to have a meeting with the financial city manager and learn about what that potential was looking like. So I was scared. I don't know if I want to stay here. Every time I visited my dad in Wentzville, I just kept on seeing all the growth. Buildings were being built where I live. Buildings were being torn down for fire.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta get out of here. My dad was supposed to get married, and then the woman that he was dating and cheated on him. So I was just like, he was depressed because of that. So it was just like this perfect storm of all these things. It was like, dude, just leave Flint. So me and my best friend got together last night before I left, and he's like, hey, you can't come back. So he came up with this genius idea to make sure I cut ties. And so I made sure that nobody in my home but praise girls. Yeah,
You burned
burned bridges,
Yeah, he told me. I'm like thinking about the story. I'm like, do we want to get into? Oh, we don't. We don't need to get in.
I cut ties.
He cut ties in a very like
I look with Manny,
no, very.
but it was effective.
It was effective.
But it was so much I tried to. So I moved out here. I didn't get my life together right away. I was still drinking and doing things I shouldn't be. But I eventually dated. So part of the story that's important is when I was in high school, I had dated a girl, and when when at some point in time I was dating her, she said she didn't believe in God. And I was like, you know what? I can't continue this relationship. There's no point in that.
That was the red flag.
Yeah. And then when I moved here, I got another relationship. A girl told me she didn't believe in God. I was like, we're done. Well, even though I wasn't going to church or anything at that point in time, when she told me that, I was like, we're done. And then I was like, oh, well, this is important to me, obviously. So then I got involved with Campus Crusade at the local community college, transferred my credits, and then decided, you know what, Michael, just do the best you can for you, get your degree. Because when I first moved here, I was depressed. Like, I cried myself to sleep
Oh, damn.
a few nights because, like, I was lonely. I was like, how am I gonna meet a girl here?
You just burned all your bridges.
Yeah, and all I've ever wanted to do is just find a woman, get married, start a family. It's all I've ever cared about. And so,
And I think more men are like that than they let on to be. Cause like when you okay, so you were in this party phase doing all these things, right? So that didn't seem like it was your priority.
but all you guys care about is getting a girl.
Yeah.
All we care about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ever get them to like us. Oh, so we got to drink with them. Okay, that'll get them to like us. Okay.
Well, what time frame? What was this like 2007 to 8 type time?
Um, this would have been 2006,
Yeah.
2006.
So I always think about like when I'm thinking about people who are in the early 20s, teenage years, I always think about pop culture.
So I'm like 23.
Relate with them. So you're 23 at this time, and it's like 2006, 2007. Like this is a big like in pop culture. It's like Jersey Shore and like all these really
Yeah, cheery up.
like yeah, like hardcore cheerleading. Like we drink, we get up, we go to the gym, we do our laundry, make sure we're clean,
Yep.
go do it again.
We had road rules. It was that TV reality. Yeah, big deal back then.
So mind you, I was in like seventh grade at this time, and so it's like for me, it was like this is what adults do. Like this is normal. So I know what you guys were doing,
Right.
but like it's funny because now when I turned 23, that culture kind of died down. It was more like the hippie kind of like
Weird how things go through
yeah,
waves.
yeah, it does. It is. So you were, but you're in your heart. You were actually like I'm just looking for a wife. I'm waiting for God to like show me who this person is.
Yeah, so when I was back, when it gotten clean the first time, I had gotten rebaptized, but we actually were reading a book called I Kiss Dating Goodbye by I Kiss Dating Goodbye
Oh, okay.
by Joshua Harris.
Mm.
And I made a list of all the internal aspects I wanted in a future wife and had that. So
Can you share some of them? You know some of the
I really wanted to know, like, how does a woman treat other people's like, how did Kaylee treat other people around her when I'm far off in the distance, not knowing that I'm even watching?
and say,
Or she treat people? Did she treat people with love and care about other people's feelings? So that kind of stuff was very important to me. Did she really have a core value of family?
yeah,
So
those are good ones. And obviously believes in God was
yeah,
solid the solid at that point.
you're the big one.
Yeah.
So so I got involved with Campus Crusade. Was trying to find a girl. Didn't work out because I'd never been the good Christian kid, so I didn't look good to the good Christian kids growing up.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I started drinking again, and I met Kaylee. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. February 11th, 2009. She said, "Hey, I'm pregnant,"
Mm, yeah.
and she was crying because when I first met her, mind you, I'm in this zone and frame of mind where I'm just trying to get my degree.
Mm.
So I was like, I just need somebody you should cohabitate with.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to be not catch feelings with her because like I didn't want to get too close because every time that happens, seems like bad things happen. So I just wanted to get my degree finished.
Yeah. And then she was gorgeous on every knee like she want. Like she is beautiful. I love like her. And like even in an inside, she's so amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, you didn't really care.
no, it wasn't being super nice to her,
Yeah.
right? Because I didn't want to get attached. I
Yeah.
didn't want to get my heart broken. Yeah. So she said I'm pregnant. So I'm like, okay. Well, I sat her down on the couch. I was like, listen, I got a very important question to ask you. I was so nervous about this. I was like, I thought for sure she was going to say no. I'm like, oh gosh, let me be terrible. But I said, do you believe in God? She says, yes. But I'm mad at him. And I said, you know what? That's fine. I could work with that. Yeah. So we went to go get our first apartment because I'm moving out. I'm not going to stay at my dad's place if I'm having a kid. I found that list with all those characteristics that I wanted in a future wife. She met everything on there except for one. I wish we would have kept the stupid list. I might have it somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I'll find it. But she don't like sports. I was like, that's not a deal breaker. That's external to work with that. She's slowly learning what football is because of Taylor Swift and the Chiefs. So
Travis Kelsey.
yeah. 10, wait, month. Yeah.
Not that they won like their
Super such a little champion without Taylor Swift,
details.
which she put on the band. So,
I love that.
uh, and we got married. I actually asked her to marry me a year later on February 11th, 2010. I don't want to rush into it. Uh, we had our ups and downs. About 10 years ago, we decided to quit drinking.
Mm. Yeah. And are you like cold? Like you don't do it at all?
I drank maybe 4 or 5 times in between, just see, "Oh, can I do it?"
Yeah.
Like,
And how
here's what I
feel?
yeah, here's why I don't. Like, I found that, okay, I could drink a beer, yeah, or I could drink, a whiskey,
Whatever. Yeah.
right? Like, when I quit drinking, I just started drinking, uh, not gin. What was the hardcore I was drinking?
Start drinking.
I was drinking, neat, not whiskey. Not whiskey, what's the other one?
Bourbon?
Not bourbon.
Oh, I don't know. Scotch. Okay. Yeah.
Drinking scotch, I was like, I had the pinnacle of man. Yeah, dude, right? Scotch is, you gotta drink scotch and eat your hair on chest man, right? But um I I just realized that it wasn't good and it wasn't healthy for us. And when I did drink, I got to the point where like I either need to keep drinking to maintain this buzz.
Yeah.
That's what always gets me in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Or B, I gotta drink some coffee. Cause now and then I get tired and want to go to sleep.
Yep. Yeah.
So like, well, I don't need to drink coffee because it's 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I do want to go to sleep sometimes at night.
Right.
And if I do the other one, I'm going to do something stupid that I'm going to regret.
Mm-hmm.
I've already been doing
So both the paths just kind of suck.
Yeah.
Not fun. So why do it?
Right.
Oh, I feel that so much. I really do. And I'm still like in this learning phase of that. Like you think, oh, whatever, like one. It's funny that you say that because the drink I had last night was like some kind of those like coffee, cozy little whatever the heck they are drinks.
Yeah.
And in the moment, I was like, yeah, this is good. But then, like, I couldn't sleep last night. Like, I literally just was up every 25 minutes and just like, I'm like, this is going to suck. I woke up, my alarm went off at 4:50, was supposed to go to the gym this morning, and I was just beat, you know? So I'm like, well, I'm just going to sleep for another hour, skip the gym. And that's like not what I want. I know that's not what God wants for my life either, you know? So it's like, choose a drink and miss the thing that you actually want to do.
Right. Because then when you get to start your day those ways
Yeah.
with your routine and oh, you see with God,
Mm-hmm.
such a better day.
Yes. Yeah, because I listen to worship music while I'm working out. Try to do my best to make it glorifying to God, and it's like, so then you just sleep. That doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we quit drinking
Yeah.
after that. While I was with Campus Crusade for Christ and I was going through my good spell, I was praying fervently that my dad would believe in God. He was raised as Catholic and just didn't believe in God or anything. He retired as soon as he hit 50 and he met a girl. So me and my wife have an apartment and he told me he was going to a church. I was like, what? You're doing what? Where? Where are you going? I'll meet you there, sir.
I need to see it to believe it.
So we started going there. We moved to Michigan, moved back. But we quit drinking. My wife got baptized. It was important to me that she get baptized because she had gotten the sprinkle on, but I had already been baptized twice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 3 times if you count the sprinkle.
Oh, we need to go back and talk about those baptisms too.
Yeah.
We'll keep going with where we're at.
So ever since then, we made God number one in our relationship and in our family. Everything's gotten better from there.
So you didn't get rebaptized with Kaylee in that time.
She no,
On her own.
my first baptism was when I was 12 for my uncle passed.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything with the
Yeah.
Then the second time was after I got clean. It was in Niagara Falls. 7 years to the day from the first baptism. Which, if you know anything about your Bible, that was a great number.
We were just talking about the sevenfold Spirit of God, all of it yesterday. No joke.
So it was at Niagara Falls. It was right after 9/11 too.
Yeah.
We had a youth conference up in Niagara Falls. Well, that's weird. I remember we went across the border in the church van, and we had to sit there forever, like hour and a half. It might have been 15 minutes, but at 19, it felt like being really come. And I don't think we had cell phones, so we didn't know how long the time really was. But yeah, we didn't have our passports. But here, the Twin Towers just got blown up.
Yes.
So Anyways, we got to go.
Was it harder to get over the border of Canada, or no?
Yeah, like, that's where we were at. So we went through the top of Michigan and cut over to, Canada that way. Yeah, we had sit there for a long time.
Okay.
So, yeah, so after that, I just was really moved during the conference. I remember bawling my eyes out because I knew I wasn't living a life worthy of the guy, and I wanted to do better, and I didn't feel like the first baptism was legit enough. I didn't feel like I did it for the right reason. So I got baptized the second time. Uh, in a bathtub. We went back to those house. My youth pastor, Justin Lewis, he baptized me in the bathtub. And he's always been important. Like, he's always been a role model also, like, because I grew up in the church with him always. So it was very important. It was special to me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know?
And that was that was the last time you got baptized.
Correct.
Wait, you got baptized twice or three?
3 times. Because when I was 3 months old,
Oh,
we had to go to Germany.
yeah.
And my dad's mom said we weren't going unless I got baptized. So my mom took me to go get sprinkled.
Did you get baptized Lutheran?
So the first time would have been Catholic. The 2 other times would have been under, I guess if you want to, it would have been underneath the Church of Christ.
Well, it doesn't matter, but I was just curious because I know in Germany there's a lot of Lutherans there.
Oh,
And I was initially baptized Lutheran. Then I got rebaptized at your church, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Very cold, but awesome.
you're not wrong.
I did it in December, so I saw.
You picked a really warm month.
Yes.
You goes on your part.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, you gave Tannen and I that kind of like, hey, and we just got baptized. It's been a little bit over a year.
Oh, that's
So we're fresh. You did, yeah. And I appreciated that because every time something would happen, I mean, we have went through a lot in this, and people would say like, when you get married, right when you get married, you get attacked. And that we felt. And so it was like a double whammy because we got married and then got rebaptized. But every time that it would happen, I'd be like, hey, this is just the enemy wanting me to turn around.
Yeah.
That's all that it is. And of course he's going to want to do that, especially when, like, if God has purposes for you that are big. And I think he has purposes for all of us that are big if we allow ourselves to turn that way, So you got rebaptized, and did you feel that same attack on that last one?
Yeah.
Because that was
I didn't go right back, but it happened.
pain.
I just didn't know it came. I didn't know it came and got me. My friend Barry was like, hey, I know you don't do drugs anymore. Well, you could drink, right?
Yeah,
I
you.
was like, sure.
Yeah. Oh, you.
Yeah, stop there.
It's the loopholes. The enemy, not saying your friend, but like the enemy can like speak through people, but he can also even give our minds these like weird justifications of sin.
Yeah.
And so now, question: did you kind of just come to the conclusion of like the Lord, because like baptism is about the forgiveness of sins and the public declaration of faith.
Yeah.
And so maybe when you were too young to understand it, you thought it was something different than it actually was. And that's why you went and redid it.
Yes.
And the reason that I went ahead and redid it is because I was like, I was a baby. That's not a public declaration of faith.
I didn't get to make a choice.
It's a dedication. It's definitely a dedication and a responsibility for parents, but it's not a choice. And so I think looping back to your daughter, it is important that she understands and that she's not in this mindset of like, I don't want to go to hell.
Right.
Because that's not.
I'm going to take her down Romans Road and talk about,
Yeah.
we all sin.
Yeah.
Jesus died for us to forgive our sins, and that we need to confess with our mouths, and see where that goes.
Yeah. So was there a moment in your life where you turned and you were like, I'm going to really dive deep into, like, I'm going to dedicate to my Bible, reading my Bible. I'm going to dedicate to going to church, those things.
So I was starting to do it just before that, and I got fired from being a teacher for yelling at a student. So I got sent home in December of 2016. It was great timing, though, for me, because, like, my daughter was, like, a little over 1 maybe, and I was just really depressed because, like, as a teacher, I was getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, leaving the house, getting home during rest of the season, which is like 6 months of the year, at like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And so I would leave before the kids got up, and I would be home after they were in bed. I'm like, I didn't get to see my own kids. I'm taking care of other people's kids, and I was just sad.
Yeah.
So it really worked out. I got to spend like 8 months with her, snuggling and watching every single Disney princess movie.
Yeah. Kind of reconnecting.
Yeah, we really bonded. She loves singing, so we sing a lot of Disney songs. So, I got to hang out with my best friend for a little bit while I figured out what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
And then interview with Edward Jones. I had it narrowed down to 2 jobs. I talked to God, it's like, if I can find a job closer teaching, I'll do it. I did get a job at a private Christian school, but it was not enough to pay my bills. It would have been way less than what I make even before the other teaching job.
Was it public school?
No, it's private. So,
Oh,
it was a private Christian school.
both of them were.
No, my other teaching job was public.
Yeah, I would a Christian would pay or private would pay more.
Oh, no, they're far less.
That's so sad.
So, typically, what most teachers are, they have a spouse that makes significantly more money.
So they're safe enough to be able to just do what they love.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I find most couples are.
Yeah.
Usually, if one of the couples has a job where they don't make a lot of money, it's okay because the other one does.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It balances out.
yeah, so I when I got to working with Art Jones, I was scared
Yeah.
because they sent me out there to say, hey, you need to find close to like $700,000 in 17 weeks. I'm sitting here like, dude, I grew up dirty poor.
Yeah.
Everybody in my sphere of influence is poor.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's gonna work. So boy, did I pray a lot.
Yeah.
And I did the process of what I was taught. And
Yeah.
God blessed me.
Wait, what's the process? Because it sounds like it worked.
Yeah. Work really, really hard. Colossians 3:23.
Yeah.
Work for though the Lord himself, not mere masters, his servants. So
Oh, that's a good one.
so yeah, making sure that I was working hard for the Lord and not for human masters. And I worked my butt off and I did that and I prayed a lot. Every day I was praying, God, I don't know who's gonna answer the door, who's gonna trust me, but make sure that I meet them today and then I get their information and that they trust me. So
Wow.
I was
So
my spiritual life was on fire. It was for like about a good 2, 3 years.
yeah.
But then I started getting complacent because I started having success. And then eventually
Bible warns
wait
against
until I quit giving the glory to God. And so I experienced kind of like a spiritual dryness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I felt distant from God, but it wasn't God's fault. God was there all along.
Yeah.
I just created a wedge because
You were always there.
I'm doing better than you are.
Yeah.
This is me doing this, not
Oh, no. Yeah, and I wanna okay, so there is pulling up the questions too, because we're about to loop back around to the major questions for people who
yeah,
are in this industry and maybe they're thinking about the industry too.
yeah,
However, there is I always ask ChatGPT
yeah.
because like it just finds the Bible verse super quick. But there's a Bible verse that talks about like I'm bringing you into I think it's like the promised land, but when you get there, don't forget about me.
It's probably an Exodus.
I think so. Hold on.
Because this sounds like something he would be telling Moses. Or could have been Joshua. But either way, I'm pretty sure that's an Exodus. I don't know where.
Okay.
If somebody wants somebody to get out of the house really quick. Yeah, he's like, he calls and you got to be out this door as I get there.
My grandma, when she used to pick me up from school, she used to just, or like pick me up to take me to school, she'd be laying on the horn. It's like 7 in the morning. I'd be like, man, the neighbors thought they would have.
Wild. As a kid, we didn't have cell phones. And I would have to be at a certain place at time when my mom to pick me up. You had to communicate that ahead of time.
That, the horn?
No, I'm all trouble if she had to honk the horn. I better be ready to walk out the door. She pulls up.
Let's see.
A lot of times she picked me up from the library or the skating place. Man, my mom she took me everywhere.
I don't feel like this is it. I'll have to find it. Sometimes, like, if I'm recording, it's gonna take too long to find it. I'll just say, like, I'll put it in the notes.
Yeah.
Because it feels super relevant and super it's a message that I've been receiving from the Lord. First off, it's interesting you brought up, like, serving not man, but serve the Lord.
Yeah.
I think that's so encouraging when you do have even, like, a difficult client or a difficult patient or customer, like, remembering, like, serve the Lord, treat them like Jesus would treat them.
And our work is always
Yeah.
a living testament to God. And so we're supposed to use our bodies as a living sacrifice. Sometimes that sacrifice is dealing with stuff that we don't want to deal with,
Yeah.
but other people see how we're handling the situation and dealing with it. And then that is a testimony of who God is and how he has transformed us to deal with difficult people and difficult situations.
Yeah. Yes. And he will change your heart through those things too. And yeah, convict you of like, ooh, I didn't do that exactly how I wanted to.
And so, yeah, so like for me, I just now got back into the regular habit of reading, praying, and meditating. Also, you need to memorize scripture.
Yeah.
As you memorize scripture, those words get written on your heart
Yes.
and in your spirit. And that's how the Holy Spirit changes us from the inside out. It's not, ta-da, I'm different now.
Yeah.
No, it takes time and work.
Yep.
Gotta work at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes back to the Colossians 3:23.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. So, how do you view this role as a financial advisor in context with stewardship? How do you kind of like sprinkle in a little stewardship into financial advising?
I get to find out where people put their money.
Yeah.
Do they put their money where their faith is? So a lot of times they say, show me your bank account and I'll tell you where your treasure's at. Right now, mine's probably on a stupid game on my phone. My wife will tell you all about it when you talk to her. I need to quit playing that game. Oh no, that game. But giving, it's a game where I get to like build armies and fight people. Building my castle.
You're doing the thing.
Sure.
Putting in the work. Yep, are you careful with that kind of stuff?
So,
That's a good point. Like, so we just recently, yeah, I'll just be honest with it. I had a big goal this year. A big goal. I wanted to tide $14,000. Like that was my like that's what I want to do. Um and I was really dedicated to it in the beginning of the year when we were living at the homeless shelter because we had no expenses. So it was like whatever. It's easy. Moved here and I started to cramp up a little bit. Like, well, I'm nervous, I got to make sure I'm still paying us. And then like it kind of fell off.
yeah.
Until like about the past month or so, the Lord kind of put it back in my heart, like, you remember your goal? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not gonna be able to hit that anymore. Like I fell off. And he's like, no, 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 let's just start back up. Let's do it. And I felt so blessed in that, but also like nervous. And so it's that verse about like, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing when it comes to giving. Like, so there's a separate account, transfer that tithe in there and just send it. Don't even think about it.
So I went to a dinner for a ministry called For His Glory, and we did what's called a faith promise. And then they talk about where you give a number, you don't know if you can do it or not, but you just do it and let God show up.
Oh, that's scary.
It is good.
Good way.
Yeah. So it's just always doing that. So
Yeah.
me and Kaylee have realized when we do our budgets that our biggest pile of money that we spend our money on is just giving.
That's
So some
a blessing.
I'm in a group of men called Caleb, and the focus is finances. One of the guys always says, "This is how you need to be with money. Once you start doing this, you have a problem. This is where we need to be."
Yeah.
I don't like this. Our God is an awesome God. He can give us whatever He wants. He doesn't even need us to do the ministry. He wants to do the ministry with us, and He wants to bless us.
Yeah.
But
Goes.
He wants our hearts.
Truth. It's so true.
Sorry,
No, no, no. I'm thinking.
I get preachy sometimes.
No, no, no. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just thinking about like, something he's been storing up in my heart
Yeah.
or not storing up. Well, he's been putting it on my heart is storing your treasures in heaven.
Yeah.
And what does that actually mean? And what does that actually look like? Because I think it looks so many different ways. It could be giving, and then maybe in heaven. I guess I've been thinking about the thought of heaven and like envisioning it a lot, which is kind of funny.
Interesting. I don't do that at all.
It's weird to do it, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, Lord, if I'm wrong, like we'll laugh about this someday. Now I'm like, like in heaven, like what if I'm able to see the spiral impact of everything that one small axe did? And sometimes the Lord, in one of my podcasts with a friend named Danielle, she said that she had to go up to this random person who had special needs, And the Lord had put on her heart, you need to go up to him and tell him he's special. And she's like, Lord, are you joking? I can't tell this little boy that's in a wheelchair that has special needs that he's special. That sounds not good. And he said, no, you need to do that. So he's about to leave and she runs across the church and she's like sprinting towards this kid and just blurts out, you're special. And she's like, oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing. Why did I do that? Well, come to find out, a week later, they're at this like youth group camp and he gets up on stage and he's sharing his testimony. Multiple young men came to the faith that day because of him. Then afterwards, his mom came up to her and said, thank you for saying that to him because he didn't even want to go. But you saying that to him made him decide that he wanted to go to the youth camp this week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like those little, I think we get glimpses of it, but not always do we get the glimpses of it.
And so that's why we got to be obedient.
Yeah.
The Spirit.
Yeah. Even when it sounds crazy.
Yeah. It always sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Are you sure, God?
Yeah. You're like,
What you're doing?
yeah. It's just so powerful. So like, that's, I guess, what I've been thinking. Like, it can be tithing, you give something and then it could be this whole spiral for this nonprofit or this church or this person. And you may not even know the full.
I think if you want to have a date with God, you do sacrificial giving.
Yeah.
That's the soul.
That.
It's where it can hurt.
Yeah, that. Yeah, life. Okay. I want to get myself. It's a good example is I wasn't very generous yesterday. I'm gonna be honest, I struggle with generosity.
Oh,
And it-
one thing I don't currently do, I I quit rounding up for places
Yeah.
because I'm biased. But like, no, they're just doing it so they get their tax deduction.
Oh, yeah. I don't do that either.
I'll give money other places.
Yeah, I don't do that. No. But I bought a bunch of Christmas gifts yesterday and I'm not a Scrooge, but like I'm not that. Like it doesn't I'm always like, oh, they'll be fine. But yesterday I was like, let's do it. I'm feeling this would be really fun to like give to others. And that's a new thing that's in my heart. And um this morning we woke up and like two of our electronics that are not cheap are now broke. And I'm like,
Pretty sure my dishwasher's broken, according to the messages I have with my wife today.
yeah. And so it's kind of like, it's God kind of challenging, like, and it's been in my mind, should I just go return those gifts? Like, they weren't the gifts I have on the list planned out with the money. They were just little cute things that made me think about people I love.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, let's keep the things. We're going to be fine. We don't need a robot vacuum. We're going to be fine.
Right.
So it's just an thought.
All the time anyways.
Yeah. Well, this one was just kind of like a China one,
Oh, okay.
And we liked him. We named him Alfred. It was his last day on Earth. Like, I'm a little sad. So, anyways, let's get back on the topic. So we do that. Sorry.
So I get to hold people accountable to their finances.
Yeah, you do.
Like if they say that giving is important, I get to, then I tell them about things that we could do that might be able to make it more a little more tax efficient according to their CPA.
Yeah, which is always great. But the painful stuff that's a challenge. I feel like you just brought forth challenge to the people that are listening to this. Because we don't talk about sacrificial giving often. And like saying like, man, I really want this XYZ. But like the Lord was like, hey, why don't you give that amount first and trust me that I'll bring this forward?
So take this back to the widow's mite, right?
I don't know it.
So the verse where the lady gave, I think, just like a penny.
The last.
Or a penny, but it was all she had.
Yeah.
That's sacrificial giving.
Yeah, it is.
She had more favor with God than the person who gave more than she gave. It's not about the amount you give.
Because the Lord
Does our trust that you have in Him. He's going to take care of you no matter what you give.
In what ways do you integrate your faith into your daily work as a financial advisor?
Right now, I'm trying to be cognitive. And this is not perfect. I'm not perfect. I would love to figure out to be perfect at this, but just trying to do daily breathly prayers of I surrender. Just stay focused.
In the morning? At any point?
Yeah. I mean, the Bible says pray without ceasing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do we do that? With our breathing. So if we can figure out how to do breathly prayers,
Did you hear that thing that said that Yahweh actually means inhale and exhale?
Yeah,
Did I tell you that?
yeah. I got the breath prayers problem. We're doing the purpose-driven life right now, and so we just got done going through that. But yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I overrated. He is, and it makes sense because, like, as we breathe, he's all around us. It's cool. It's really cool.
I mean, I tried to make sure, like, when I bring on board a new client, one of the things I make sure they know, I'm very involved in men's ministry. That's important to me, so they can know that we can have spiritual conversations too. And I can get a feel for where people are at based on when I say that with their spiritual journey.
Yeah.
So my goal is to continue to move people closer to God and not away from God
Yeah.
as we work together.
I feel like one of my biggest struggles is finances, and, like, the Lord has taught me so much and brought me so far, and I think he can really cleanse and, like, remove those, like, generational whatever they like, the beliefs that we have around money, and he can make it new, and he's can make anything possible. True.
Remember last time we talked, I told you that I felt like God was telling me I need to write a book about finances and find all the verses.
Yes.
And I didn't want to do it because I was like, man, it has to be a lot of work. God was, he played a joke on me. So like, I tried to find all the verses. Dude, somebody already did it. I'm like, yeah. So are you reading? Yeah, I gotta read the book. Yeah. It's only 406 pages. It's a skip.
Well, you may have so one thing though, and I don't mean to throw that, but sometimes I think that we like, for example, if I was like, oh, there's already podcasts like this, I don't need to do it because there's already a podcast. But like my language and how I speak could affect someone that wouldn't hear it from that other first style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I, I don't appreciate you telling me that, but I don't think it's certain.
Let's see, gee, I'm up for other woods. Mother showed you the book so that you can read it and be like, oh no, this ain't good enough. Sorry, you know why is that book?
It is 406 pages. Maybe I could figure out how to be at least maybe 203 pages.
Yeah, the short ones are really nice. You're not us. Because it's like I can just sit down, pick it up, really absorb it, and then come back to it
Less is better.
and go deeper. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, books that are long sometimes, unless they're like, like a story, not full with it being longer. But the devotionals, it's kind of like, let's do 30 days, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Can you discuss how your faith influences your ethical decision-making process in the financial advising?
I mean, I guess so, yeah. We'd always do what's best for somebody. So
Fair.
let me see. Recently a lady, she's dealing with an estate issue. Um, she wanted to just sell everything, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna make a lot of commissions off this. How about instead? Because I knew that she got to keep part of the estate, part of it's hers. I'm like, why don't we instead? Because I know she's already got other house somewhere else. So I'm like, listen, let's do this instead. Let's just sell the part that we need to send to other people, right?
Yeah.
And get them their cash. But I know you aren't spending this money. The rest is nonprofits. So they're going, maybe they won't want cash. Maybe we need to ask them. But right now, we're going to at least not sell her portion and just slide it over to her portfolio without having to sell it.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm going to make less that way.
Yeah.
But I'm still doing what's in her best interest because, trying to do things in the most cost, tax efficient manner is always what drives my goals. But I don't need to make a lot of money because I'm already going to make a lot of money,
Right.
whether I try to get more out of people or not. If I just do the right thing at all times, I'm going to continue to be blessed and I'm going to be shared with other people. People are going to say, this guy did this. He's trying to look out for my well-being and my best interests. I think I dealt with something else the other day where I called a guy and I was like, listen, no, let's not do that. That's not in your best interest. And he said, Michael, I appreciate you looking out for my best interest.
So these are instances where you could advise them in a way that could get you more money.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So like this to me sounds like it's like you really want to find as a Christian, I've kind of learned that when it comes to things like professional services, I do enjoy having people who share like-minded, you know, Christianity, and also that they have good fruit, that you see that they're doing those things.
The good thing I love about my industry and even my company is we have a lot of oversight of people that look and see what we do to make sure things are done in a suitable manner. We have best interest rules. So we have a lot of rules
So that no one can get taken advantage of.
that protect people, yes.
Wow.
Uh, so that's a blessing to me.
Yeah.
Um, Working for Ever Jones, I know that FINRA and the SEC have rules that are like this. And I feel like our company is saying, okay, they're there, okay, but we live in here.
Yeah.
We hold ourselves to even higher standard
What
than what
I know it must be a great company because, on a side note, my my mom works for Edward Jones, and I believe she's worked there for 10 years, and she's now does, like, training for new people.
huh?
And she growing up, she had the hardest time keeping a job, and it was always just, like, one thing or another, it never really made any sense to her or to us as a family. Where like, it just didn't work out, or she didn't love it, and she would just maybe stay at her job 6 months to a year. And then she got a job at Edward Jones, and they are just so understanding and welcoming, and it's really interesting for such a big corporation to be that way. It's very rare, I think.
There's a reason why so many years in a row we were named one of the top companies to work for,
Yeah, yeah,
as far as culture.
yeah.
So yeah.
That's incredible. And do they have faith-based principles, or is it just the way it's structured? Or you don't know?
Culture.
Yeah.
Um, Ted, there's a painting, and I might butcher this, but he was asked why he never turned over the company to a corporation and sell it back to make a bunch of money off it. And he said that he had a horse that listened when he called him, 2 dogs that loved him, and that money was not his god.
Yeah, that's a key. Can't serve 2 masters.
No.
Yeah,
And I think that culture has been embodied since we've
since it started.
began
That's so cool.
through his
It's
fathers.
very rare in this world. That's what I'll say. How do you envision a role of faith and finance evolving in the future, and what part do you hope to play in that? So, like, what if when I hear that, I'm thinking what you just said about specific people, maybe they're taking the option of, well, I know if they sell this, I'm going to get a commission, and it's Christmas time. So, like, why not? Like, I can get more money and then XYZ. So, what things?
Well, conversely, if I think an investment is gonna do a better job and its whole entirety of somebody's portfolio, then maybe I will, but I gotta know that it's gonna benefit them to help them reach their goals.
Yeah.
Like, so I have to take that in consideration.
Yeah.
I don't always just do something because it's gonna make me more money or not do something because it's gonna make me more. I always do whatever is gonna be best for them to reach whatever their goal is. It's important to them. And I will disclose all the different ways that I can get paid so that they can make sure they make the best decision.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So maybe that's something you would advise other people is just like, and maybe in the like when you're new to it, I feel like I'm not in this industry, but sometimes I'll do something and afterwards I'll think about it and I'll be like, I don't feel like that was right, what I just did. So is it just like slowing down, praying maybe before you go to work?
Well, I try to engage every day. What if I go back to the question, the thing that I think I really want to do that would transform the industry
Yeah.
and lead people towards their faith is documenting how they're progressing with their faith. We're documenting your monetary goals. Well, I'm not documenting your spiritual goals.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have goals, spiritual goals that you would like to grow on, I mean, we got all these different gifts. We got these fruits of spirit. Why aren't we documenting those?
Yeah. I like that a lot. That'd be very special if you did that. And it would hold people accountable
Yeah.
to their faith, which is something I
Not
never.
everybody's gonna want it. my goal is that everybody wants it, and I have that type of a relationship with people. But
Yeah. But it could look as small as somebody who's not going to church saying, "Yeah, I've always wanted to commit to going every week."
Hebrews 10:24-25 says that we need to continue to gather with other people.
Yeah.
And don't gather ourselves, but that's the basics of the verse. And see, that's what I'm talking about with memorizing verses.
Yeah. Yeah, because I couldn't even remember the one that I know, and I know it's been on my heart.
Let me read it real quick because I haven't memorized it. Um, I know
Or you know the
I know where to go find it.
yeah, that's sorry.
And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. So continue to get together.
We have to. And it's like so I have a cousin who I invite into church this upcoming week and but she and this is the first person I've invited to church, I believe.
Oh, you
And well, she's scared and she's I think it was a no. Basically, it was a I'll think about it, which is okay, but it's like
ask her next week.
yeah, it's sad to think how hurt people are that they're scared to walk into a new church, you know?
You'll let her know that hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I also hope maybe that she listens to this and maybe it strikes her in some kind of way that
Spices for you. You.
love you.
Oh, yeah.
But no,
So I had a cousin too that was atheist. We had arguments. He hit me with can God make something so hot that he can't touch it? I'm like, come on now. It's a straw man.
yeah, what is that question?
And it's a philosophical question.
It's a bizarre question.
It is. And there was the another one is can God create something so big that he can't lift it?
Yeah.
Those kinds of questions.
Nisa.
Um, and I never got too deep with it, but I've always prayed for him.
Yeah.
And guess what? I was back home one day. He told me he was going to church. There's a church right across the street from his house. He started going to it.
It's because when the Lord speaks to somebody, there's no turning back, I think.
Well, I want to say that's the effectiveness of prayer.
Yeah.
There's a guy in my office the other day. He worked for UPS. He lost his cell phone. You remember he was in our office and used our bathroom.
Yeah.
So he came in thinking he might have left it there.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, buddy, what's your name? He told me his name. He didn't know this happened. But I just immediately sat there and I prayed for him.
Yeah.
Like, dear God, help this guy find his phone. I don't know where it is and what you're going to do to help him find it, but make him quickly find it.
Yeah.
He sat around our office for a while, was trying to figure out where he might have left it. Yeah. We called his fiance on Facebook, and then he talked to him and everything. He left and immediately called my office back. I seen his name. I was like, oh, this is dude. He must have found his phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he immediately found it as soon as he left our office.
And I think the message in that is like, it doesn't matter how small it is, pray for it. I prayed for my little robot vacuum. He didn't make it.
Poor Alfie.
It's God's plan. But you can pray for the little things too. Like you said, pray without ceasing.
Yep.
Everything. He hears you. He wants to help with everything. Let's see. Last one.
Yeah.
And I feel like we already answered this, but how can your fellow financial advisors and professionals support one another in living out their faith in the workplace?
Ephesians 4:29 says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, only those which can build up others according to their needs. So if we're careful with our words and we're encouraging other men to get closer to their faith, that's going to help each other in our industry. I already know other men that I work with that have a deep, strong connection with their faith. A lot of, I think a lot of people probably went through the same process that I'm scared. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Dear God, help me.
Yeah.
And God has blessed us all.
Yeah.
So I do run across people sometimes that like, you are not in this for the right reason. All you talk about is money. How much money you're going to make. You are not talking about what am I doing to help the client. And then a lot of times this is when I'm getting like recruited.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't really care about the money. You don't understand.
Yeah.
That's not what motivates me.
Oh, it's the people trying to get you to jump ship into a different place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you're like, I'm at the right place.
same as up in what's industry I'm in either too. Like
Yeah.
if whatever industry person I'm talking to, if you're not talking about the person that you're serving,
Yeah.
your heart's in the wrong place.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of Christian. Well, no, they identify as a Christian, but their priorities are very skewed.
You can judge people by their fruits.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Even though we shouldn't really be judging. I try not to judge. You guys are about my horrible past. I don't like judging.
I think
But you could
that
you need to have it.
you can judge people by their fruits, or does it say you can identify them by
They're probably identifying.
because that's and I don't know if that's the truth, so we'll look that up later too. But I feel like identifying someone so, like, for example, let's say you have $100,000 and you're like, "I wanna invest it into this company." You have to look at the fruit. You cannot just say, like, "I have a good feeling about it," and do it, because that's what I had done, and that doesn't work. You know what I mean?
It's so scary. One company. Yeah, diversification is very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, we cannot as Christians just go by our feelings, because 'cause that'll get us in some weird, bad places.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You know what I mean? Okay, so tell everybody what you're doing with the men's ministry. Yeah, they can find you and what they can connect.
So I lead a group of men from the ages of like 16 to 40. This is our average age range. We meet at Timber Warriors in Lake St. Louis, 301 Feisey Commercial Drive. Uh, we meet from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We have three parts. We have a speaker that is a seasoned, action oriented, godly executive that speaks to us about the things that they wish they would have known at our age in business, ministry, being a husband, being a father, being a friend, being a brother, being a sister, to help other people. Well, maybe not be a sister, 'cause it's usually men. So take that up. Uh, and then after that, we share life together. We talk about the things that we would need prayers for, that we got going in our lives and what we got happening. So we pray for each other throughout the month. And then after that, we talk about what are some practical things, how we can be business place ambassadors for Christ in our industry. Every single one of us has a job, and we can all use it as a ministry. So there's not any job out there that you cannot use as a ministry. Now that I say that, I'm thinking of things you probably shouldn't use as a ministry. But you're picking up while laying down.
Could be a testimony, though.
Yeah. So later on. Later he might have had to arrest you for the industry. But
Yeah. Like, gosh, you're so right, though. I'm glad you clarified. Okay, so do you want them to, if they want to just like shout you a message and say, like, hey, this was encouraging, Facebook or what?
send me an email at michael.b as in boy, ARYO 80 at gmail.com, or feel free to call my office 636-498-7003, and we can grab lunch or breakfast sometime on a Thursday or Friday if you want to chat.
Very cool. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. I know that it's going to bless a very large amount of your industry and other industries too. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Yeah, of course.
Appreciate the fire.
Yeah, it was nice, right? Yeah, it's cozy. Thank you guys for watching, for listening. Be sure to well, I don't even know what they do on Spotify. They have you download it and follow me. So be sure to follow this for just weekly encouragements.
Toodles.
Bye.